Hi guys, this film is designed to help you with Skills for Further Study, or SFFS. It is only offered at a senior level, so if you are not in the senior certificate or you're not enrolled in this subject, you don't need to watch this film any further. The purpose of this unit is designed to get you to develop your research and organisational skills, but also force you to think about life after school, particularly in regards to further training and stuff that you can follow. The work that you're going to be looking at is in a green booklet for you, but I will be speaking to you from a white booklet. On page 1, you're firstly asked to think about various learning strategies that you can use and list them here and their key concepts here. So the learning strategy could be something like brainstorming, it could be taking notes, it could be recording yourself and then listening back to it. Either way, you need to come up with 4, and for one of them, you need to actually implement it and evidence that to us. So it could be brainstorming, and you just show us your brainstorm. It could be talking amongst a group to get some ideas out. Again, that just evidence it to us. On page 2, you need to reflect on how that went. How did it go? Get peer or teacher feedback from it, and then a critical reflection. What could you improve on next time in implementing this learning strategy? From this, you need to start thinking about your strengths and weaknesses. This is not in general, but strengths and weaknesses specifically in pursuing further study. So here, page 3, what are your strengths in regards to pursuing further study, and how could you further strengthen them? Weaknesses, and how you can improve upon them. With this in mind, you need to now look at a study timetable. You've got some strategies, you've got your strengths and weaknesses, you now need to create a bit of a guideline to follow to meet those. You've seen these before. This is on page 4. You just need to fill it in as to what is going to happen each hour of the day. If there's non-negotiables in there, like netball training or something like that, make sure you put them in there. But this is needing to be followed to help you organise yourself. Equally, the next 10 pages or so are your weekly workload list. The course is forcing you to organise yourself, and it's using this tool to make you do so. At the start of the week, on Monday, so I'm looking on page 5 as the first one, you need to put the date of the Monday that you're starting the work, and then after that, all the work you need to do in order of importance. So the most important at the top, least at the bottom. On the Friday at the end of the week, you need to assess yourself. How's your progress? How did your study timetable go and what improvements are needed? And then adjust your timetable accordingly. From there, you are up to Units 2 and 6. Units 2 and 6 require you to research an issue within the further education and training sector. So it could be something like the cost of further education, moving away from home, the need to balance work and study, disability and disadvantage, TAFE versus uni, the TAFE sector rorts from last year, the issues people who are on the spectrum have, uprooting and changing routine, that sort of thing. But to do it, you need to identify different research techniques and different research terminology so that you can research effectively. So starting on page 15, you start with the potential topic issue. And after that, tell us what a primary source is. For all these, the answers are not going to change. So if you have to do it subsequently in term 2 and 3, you can copy your answers. What are primary sources? What impact do they have on the quality of resources, of your research? Secondary sources? What impact do they have on the quality of your research? What is intellectual property, copyright, plagiarism, collusion? How can you determine the integrity of the source of the information you found? So how can you determine whether you can trust it or not? And how can you determine source relevance of the information you found? So how do you know it's relevant? After that, you need to be able to use different techniques to find the information you need. So what is questioning? Why is it worth a strategy? Why is it worth using this strategy? Indexes, and why is it worth using this strategy? Content pages, and why? Keywords, and why? Search engines, and why? From that, you're looking at page 18, where it's showing you how to cite information that you have found and the sources you used. Make sure you read this and follow it. If you have any questions or concerns, make sure you ask. You're now up to the actual research about the issue in the post-secondary course, post-secondary education that you are looking at, whatever that is. So page 19 is you just telling me, what is the source of information? What did you find? What type of reading and note-taking strategies did you employ? How did you check your source for integrity and relevance? And now, how did you demonstrate questioning, use of index, use of contents pages, use of keywords, use of search engines? And then it repeats itself for a second and a third source, because you need to be able to, and fourth, you need to be able to prove what you have found is there. From there, we're looking at page 23. Now you have all that information, you need to start compiling it. This is a plan section. So your presentation needs to be around 10 minutes. It is an extended presentation. And you need to use appropriate verbal and non-verbal features to be able to convey your point. You also need to use appropriate ICT. I would recommend PowerPoint, but use whatever is relevant to you. So on this planning section, I've asked you to tell us what the topic is and then the topics of the slides that you're going to go through. To plan, you also need to know who your intended audience is and how you're going to directly appeal to them. How are you going to make them care or interested? What verbal features will you demonstrate? For instance, use of tone, volume, etc. Non-verbal features like gestures, handouts, movement. And how do you plan to use appropriate technology to make your presentation better? That could be something like an interactive gadget or something like that. Page 24 to 26. This is after you've done your presentation, so we'll need a recording of that presentation so that we can assess it, especially in this away from school environment that we have at the moment, and we'll need a copy of your ICT you use, like your PowerPoint or whatever it is. So after that, there's a staff member review, so they can do that after you've emailed it to them. A peer review, you can email it to them, and then a self-reflection, which you can do. Now you've done that, you're up to the real, I suppose, second half of skills for further study, which is for you to look at your potential future, and you need to create a career action plan. This starts on page 27. So you need to look at future career and work directions with an appropriate person. I would suggest that would probably be Donna Campbell. But on page 27, and you can do this online, if you need her number, let me know. But the person you spoke to, what is the proposed future career or work direction you are looking at? What are the required skills and knowledge and attributes? What suggestions do they have? What other information have they provided? You need to sign it, then they can sign it. You now need to create the career action plan. So you need to be able to fill in the... now you need to look at the page 28 to 31. In this, you need to look at some various post-secondary courses that may be of interest to you. So this is fairly self-explanatory, but what is the course and where did you find the information? It could be gotafe.com, for instance. Describe the course and the units undertaken. That information will all be online, the cost, and anything else that is important. Make sure you do attach any resources you find, like a handout or something like that, and then do that again. Now, once you've done this, you can go back to Donna or whoever it is and share with them what you found. So that is there. And then you can adjust your career action plan that you've made with Donna if necessary. From there, you now need to look at page 32. This is Unit 3. So it's just saying that we depend on technology a lot in a lot of the aspects of our lives, particularly in regards to education, especially now that we have this online learning that we're going through at the moment. You need to talk about an online platform that you are using and talk us through that. So you need to choose an online platform and demonstrate to us that you can use it effectively. For those of you who are doing this in online learning at the moment, it could be WebEx or Compass or something like that. Demonstrate that you can use it to a staff member and then explain to them how you engage responsibly with this platform to support your further learning. You can make some notes, and then there's room for a staff comment there. Now, from there, there's just some questions here that you need to work from. For that same online platform, how have you created, organised and maintained digital storage to support further learning? If you have, write it down. If you haven't, explain why not. Then what is a digital footprint? Research that. Discuss that in a group and critically evaluate the implications of an individual's digital footprint. So what does that all mean? What is having a digital footprint mean? From there, you need to analyze and apply a range of digital presentation skills. So what is the skill or technique that you have found and used? So there's room for 4 here. What's the evidence for that? How did that go? What do you need to improve on? And what was good about it? As you make further content through that digital media platform, make sure you write what content you made and how it went. You're now up to the last page, which is page 35, but don't let this lull you into a false sense of security. There's a decent amount of work that you need to do now, and it's all outlined at the bottom of page 35 under the heading Unit 5. So you need to look at one of those courses that you explored. You need to identify the selection criteria and analyze that selection criteria to get into effectively the positives and minuses. The format you do this in is entirely up to you, but I've got no issue if you just write it down. Once you've done that, you need to select material that you can present as a bit of a portfolio that you can present to try and get into that course. You then need to evaluate the own pieces of work that you have created. Again, you evaluate it, again in a format up to you, but just write underneath it, if you can't think of anything else, the positives of that piece of work and the negatives. You need to research and document a range of presentation options for your portfolio. So how's the best way to present it? Digitally, hard copy? Is there some other medium that you can use? So you have to do research and evidence that research to us. You then need to prepare that portfolio for your chosen course and complete everything that you need to for that to apply without actually clicking apply unless you really want to. You need to evidence that. So if you need to fill in personal information on an enrollment sheet online, take a screenshot of it. You do not have to submit it unless you want. Once that's done, that all needs to be shown to a staff member so that we can authenticate it. This is different to the other courses in that we expect you to complete this once a term, from start to finish once a term, for a total of 3 terms. As a result, you should be starting the second time now during term 2. If you're not, you do need to catch up. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, stay safe.